Welcome back, everybody. Here's to you. Folks, you know my next guest tonight is the anchor of CNN's NewsNight with Abby Phillip. Please welcome to The Late Show, Abby Phillip. Hi, Abby Phillip.
Hey.
Nice to have you on.
These folks are really nice.
They are.
Good crowd.
You don't have a live audience at CNN, do you?
No, I do not have an adoring crowd.
Gotta get you on. Gotta get people
did.
chanting Abby, Abby. So you host the show over at CNN. You're an essential part of CNN's special coverage of a range of political events. You were on for the night of the debate, yes?
Yes,
okay,
I
yes.
was.
What was y'all's reaction to the debate before the camera cut back to you after the debate to get your reaction to the debate?
Well, I was sitting on the set, and I was sitting next to David Axelrod. I had Anderson next to me, Van Jones, a few other people, Kate Bedingfield, who used to work for Joe Biden.
Yep.
And probably, I would say, within a couple of seconds, we all were just looking at each other in silence, kind of like, are you seeing what I'm seeing?
What were you seeing?
It was...
And keep in mind that I can say out loud, I'm a huge fan of the guy, and you can't say that because you're impartial.
It was just very clear within a few seconds that this was going to be a rough night for the president.
Something was not right.
Something was not right.
Yes.
And someone said, uh-oh. And then we just continued to watch and waited to see what happened.
Did that someone say it into your mirror when you got home? Or was this someone else on the panel?
This was someone else on the set.
Okay. The president, following the debate, over a week later, which is surprising, sat down with George Stephanopoulos. In a 22-minute interview on Friday. The White House hoped this would put an end to it, reinstill confidence. I'm going to use a term that I really shouldn't because I'm not in the news, but what do your sources tell you? What do your sources tell you about the low-level mutiny among Democrats on Capitol Hill? Did this help?
I think that it helped for some people who wanted it to help, but for many more people, it's like the silent scream on the inside. I think people are still really nervous. And I actually got a call, I got a call the next day from a Democratic source who's not on the Hill, but someone who's very well connected. And the sentiment was basically, this is so bad. And
after the Stephanopoulos interview?
This is after the Stephanopoulos interview.
Okay, yeah.
So people are, from what I'm hearing, people are still freaking out. People are still freaking out about both Biden staying on the ticket and what could happen if he doesn't. Because that alternative is, for some people, just as scary as the prospects of Biden staying on the ticket.
Sure, which is why I don't think, I don't have necessarily dry land to stand on here and say it should be so. Who knows with our politics what the right thing is to do right here?
Right.
Do you believe that his letter to Capitol Hill and his Joe Scarborough call this morning saying that's it, do you think that's the end of it?
No, not at all. I mean, not at all. I mean, this feels like one of those, it's like a slow-moving roller coaster. There's some moments, like last week, was like, we're going down, and it was really fast. And then this week, it feels like we're ticking up a little bit, but we could very well go down again.
That's why you tick up.
Yeah.
That's actually the point of the ticking up in a roller coaster.
Yeah.
If roller coasters just ticked up and let you off,
we're not
no one would pay for that.
We're not at the end of the roller coaster.
Exactly.
This is not the end of the roller coaster where you're like slide into home base. We're still, we're like ticking up, and then we might be going back down.
Are you going to be in Chicago? For the convention?
Yes.
Me too.
I will. That'll be exciting.
Yeah. That would make for an interesting convention, wouldn't it?
So much more exciting than I thought Chicago was going to be.
And the Democrats, one of the big complaints is that they have trouble getting attention in the face of how crazy Trump is. But if the Democrats had a crazy, like if Joe dropped out and said it's all in for Kamala or it's a jump ball, whatever that, Trump could not buy a headline for the next 5 weeks because everyone would be just speculating about that. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. I'm saying that would be very interesting.
It's already very interesting. I mean, this is already the craziest, and I covered Trump. I mean, one of the craziest news cycles I
did cover
ever.
Trump. Speaking of this fella, you know, there's not as much talk about what happened with him at the debate because it was largely more of the same from him.
Yeah.
A lot of lies, accusations, some pretty brutal moments from him, but par for the course for him. Some people criticize Jake Tapper and Dana Bash, for not fact-checking him real time, even though they said ahead of time. In their defense, they said ahead of time, we're not going to do that. It's really up to the candidates to do that to each other. As someone who has moderated a presidential Democratic primary debate in 2020, what do you make of those accusations that you should be fact-checking in real time?
I don't think people realize, first of all, it's a hard job. I don't think people realize how difficult it is. But also, the reason that we said ahead of time they're not going to be fact-checking this debate like they would if someone came on my show. If someone came on my show, it's you and me, and I'm going to fact-check you. I will do it. But in a debate, you want to, A, facilitate a conversation, and the inadvertent effect of putting yourself in a position where you have to fact-check every single falsehood that is said on that stage, and there are a lot of falsehoods, some of them by Biden, but way more of them by Trump, is that you inadvertently will give Trump actually quite a lot more time to talk. So you monopolize time in the debate engaging with one of the candidates and not allowing the other candidate to speak. And in most debates, the candidates are supposed to engage each other, to challenge each other, to fact-check each other. That's what's supposed to happen.
Do you think that the debate should have happened?
Absolutely.
Why? You know he's going to lie, and the other guy is the president of the United States who should not be dignifying this criminal who tried to overthrow democracy and does not believe in the process at all.
Well, I think the American people need to know what they're getting.
But they
from
already
these
know.
candidates.
They've both been president of the United States.
But you would
it's not like one of
listen,
them is a mystery.
There are a lot of people who have kind of forgotten what Trump is like, what he was like.
They didn't come here tonight.
They're not in the audience tonight.
No.
But a lot of Americans, it's almost like, you know, there was COVID. A lot of this has kind of left the brain. Yeah. And so I just think, look, people need to see not only what is Trump like generally, but what is he like right now? And what is he really going to say? And it was President Biden's job to put the pressure and the spotlight on Trump. I mean, that's what his aides told us that he was going to do. And I think they acknowledge that he didn't execute on that game plan. And that's why the debate was not great for him. But they didn't set the standard of saying, oh, well, he doesn't want to be in a position to challenge Trump. They asked for the debate. Right. They wanted to challenge
They
Trump.
agreed to those rules.
They agreed to those rules.
Well, Abby, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
NewsNight with Abby Phillip airs weeknights on CNN. Abby Phillip, everybody. We'll be right back.